Hello and welcome back to another great episode of Contortion Seed. In this episode, I'm joined by two talented professional contortionists. You've met one of my guests in prior episodes of Contortion Seed. Please welcome back to the show contortion coach and author of the book Honor, Mandkhai, and with her today is our guest contortionist, Nomi. Thank you both for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Mandkhai and Nomi have collaborated to create a beautiful new contortion act together, and today on the show we're going to get to see it for the first time. I'm thrilled to see their new act, and I'm sure you will be as well. But before we watch their act, let's chat a little bit and find out what went into the creative process. So, Mandkhai, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
What kinds of projects have you been working on since you were here last time?
Well, currently I'm working on my marketing on my book Honor.
Wonderful. And you know, I know we get a lot of questions on the Facebook page, and people still have some misperceptions and misunderstandings about contortion. What kinds of misperceptions do you think are still out there?
So I think like usually, mostly in America, you know, people are thinking that just flexible people are contortionists. Of course, it is important to be flexible in order to become a contortionist, but just the flexible people are not a contortionist. So there is like big misunderstanding between them. Yeah.
I understand. So what's the difference between what you would see in a performance by a professional contortionist versus maybe somebody who's just a flexible performer?
When they're just flexible, they just do like very just flexible things, not without doing the actual contortion tricks. So that's the difference.
I see. Okay. And you mentioned your book Honor, and we've talked about that before. But can you just remind our audience a little bit about the book and why you recommend it?
Yes. Actually, I wrote this book in order to give more knowledge, more information about contortion to people, because like I mentioned before, many people, especially in America, don't really know the difference between a professional contortionist or someone who's practicing contortion as a hobby. So that's why I wrote this book.
Since your book is about contortion, do you recommend the book both for your students and your students' parents?
To be honest, I would recommend everybody to read this book, because this book is not only about contortion. It talks about traveling around the world and stories of me traveling around the world, and also it teaches people how to live like peaceful and calm and happy life. So I think it's very important for everybody who is interested in to live happy and peaceful life. And also a person by reading this book can get a lot of information about contortion.
Interesting. Okay, well, any book that's going to promote a happy and peaceful life sounds like a good book for all of us to read. And what kinds of things have you been doing to kind of get the book out there to a broader audience?
Well, I have been invited to speak in different book festivals, and in October 13th there is a Fall for the Book festival, and I think many people might know about this festival. It's a very big book festival, and this year more than 150 authors are going to be in the festival, and it's going to be a very interesting one. I think that people who love a book, it's gonna love this festival.
Sounds wonderful. That's October 13th, and where is the festival located?
It's gonna be around in 3 days festival. I'm gonna be on the Saturday, but the festival is starting from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And it's like I mentioned, it's a huge festival with lots of authors involved. So it's not only going to be only in one location. They're gonna like separate in different locations, and information is on their website.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And Nomi, welcome to the show. Your first time on here.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got interested in contortion?
When I was 4, I was like watching TV, and there was a beautiful contortion girl who's like very famous in Mongolia. So I watched her show, and I was like doing some like little tricks and like, you know, like following her. So my grandma she used to be a contortion when she was young, and she watched me, and she offered me to do some tricks. And when I do like, you know, like tricks, and then she was really happy, and she bring me to the contortion class, and that's how I joined the contortion.
I see. Interesting. So you started at age 4. What kinds of venues have you performed in? Have you traveled around performing?
Yes, I was traveling for maybe 20 countries, something. Yeah.
Wonderful. Any favorite location in that?
Yes, of course. There's so many locations I loved, but one, like my favorite location is Singapore. It was because there's like a lot of foreign people live there. I can like meet any people from in other countries.
How has having a son affected your contortion practice?
Since I gave birth, my body has changed a lot. Even like especially my flexibility. I lost like my flexibility, but I'm happy to back to my contortion practice. Since I become a mother, like I push myself 2 times more, like for everything, like more than like before. So that's affected.
Wonderful. Well, Mandkhai, we're going to see your performance together later on in the show, but maybe it would help for our audience to understand a little bit about what are sort of the elements that go into making up a contortion act.
Okay, yeah, sure. So contortion act might looks like very beautiful and simple. Everybody, when people watch the contortion act, you guys look very great, amazing, you are talented. But actually it takes lots of time, I mean lots of process in order to create the one contortion act. So the first thing we start is to actually decide what kind of act we want to do, what kind of character we want to bring it up for this act. And the second one is that we decide the music. So we have to find the music that fits with our character. And then the third one, the most important part, is to actually create the act. So we have to find what kind of contortion tricks we want to use, what kind of dance movements we want to use, and then the music also needs to be cooperated with these two. And then the fourth step is to decide the costume design, and then we ask somebody to make a costume for us, and sometimes if we can make the costume for ourselves. And the last most important step is that actually before we perform in the studio or any kind of event, we have to do the stage makeup. So the stage makeup is also very important.
Okay, interesting. It's a complex process. Does creating an act help you in your other ventures that you have going on in life?
Yeah, definitely. Being a contortionist gives a lot of benefit, but in order to become a contortionist, like I mentioned, we actually play different kinds of roles. We have to be dancer, we have to be contortionist, we have to be good at listening music, we have to decide, like we have to be good at good designer and good makeup artist. So all of these roles we play, and it is very beneficial for some students, some contortionists. They actually have a different career based on these roles, different roles.
Interesting. Well, and speaking of other careers and makeup, you mentioned, Nomi, I understand you're now becoming a makeup artist, starting a business as a makeup artist?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that? What got you interested in being a professional makeup artist? Well,
since we perform, as she said, like we have to do our makeup ourselves. I mean, there is a show can offer us like a makeup artist, but even though I'm really like enjoying to makeup, so mostly like I like to do like beauty makeups. So I'm interested in like doing like beauty makeups in professional.
Interesting. Okay, so obviously the makeup helps with the contortion acts. What's your favorite element of contortion? What do you like best about being a contortionist?
I love thing in contortionist, like traveling around the world and meet like a lot of different people from in other countries, different religion. You know, that's the like grateful thing, like doing contortion for me.
Wonderful. Okay. And Mandkhai, what's your favorite part about being a contortionist?
My favorite part of being contortion is that we learn so much. I learned so much from contortion, and the most important thing is that it made me to become both mentally and physically disciplined person.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned mental and physical discipline. I know that you're an instructor as well. You work with a lot of children. Are there certain attitudes or behaviors that you've noticed that really tend to be associated with your most successful students?
Well, the students, in order to become a contortionist, first thing is that they need to be hardworking, because without work, it's impossible to become a contortionist. So they need to be work very hard and not to give up, you know, because it's hard. Sometimes people tend to give up in even everything, you know, not just in contortion, even in life. When people try to achieve something, there is always some certain things that we don't know, like some, let's say, I don't like to say about the problem, but some hardship we face in life, and then during that time when we give up on that, and then it's really hard to achieve the success. It's like same in contortion. If we just give up, it's really hard to actually learn the new tricks and to become a contortionist.
I gotcha. Well, I know you work with a lot of children, so is there any advice you'd have for the parents of children that are interested in contortion?
Yes, I do have lots of advice for parents, not only about the parents to contortionists. I have advice for every parent. Raising a child is very, very hard, but most parents think that, you know, when they just feed their children, when they provide their clothing or provide their shelter, that's where they think it's their responsibility. But one of the most important responsibility for the parents is to find the children's talent at the young age and then invest in them to nurture their talent. That's the most important advice I would like to give it to the parents.
You mentioned the importance of parents nurturing, and so certainly I agree with that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're thinking about in that regard?
Well, because of course every parent wants their children to be successful, and every parents want their children to be wealthy, healthy, and happy. And I think like parents start like waiting for their children to go to high school, graduate from the high school, go to college, and then find a great job, and then it's like, oh yes, they are like complete now. But instead of just waiting their children to go to the college, parents need to start planning what their children is gonna do at the early age. Early is better. Usually, like when the children are 3 years old, their talent starts to come up. So during that time, it's very important to find the talent and then nurture it.
Okay, so part of that is just being observant, I guess, early on, and recognizing what those talents and differences and interests are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, and then once they find the talent, they really have to invest their time, and you know, and just to kind of, I feel like being a parent needs to sacrifice themselves in order, and of course it's not easy. So especially when they use, especially in contortion, because in contortionist, the children start at a young age, and it takes so many years to actually to become a contortionist. During that time, parents' work is very important because they have to, you know, give the right. It's very simple stuff, but This some parents, for some parents, it's very challenging to manage their time to actually give the right and to pick it up and kind of stuff.
Right. So, listening, observing, finding out what those things are that are the skills that your child really seems to gravitate toward, and then providing whatever support that is, like you said, driving to practice those kinds of things. And as a new parent, Nomi, how do you find what are your tricks to being able to balance both a contortion career, a makeup artist career, and being a mom?
Before I became a mom, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do like just contortion, and you know, like traveling around the world, something like that. But since I become a mother, I think like, oh, like if I try something, I can do. Like if I do it like harder, and if I learn like hard, I can do anything. I feel like that.
Nomi, have you noticed with your son already any strengths that it looks like he has? Is he starting to show interest in a certain direction?
He has like a lot of flexibility. So he's like, when I do like practicing on the floor, he was like watching me, and he was like following me what I'm doing. So that was really funny, and my friends noticed like, oh, maybe he's gonna be a contortionist as you. And
so your son is about a year old now. You started at the age of 4 with your grandmother. He's not that far off from that. Would you want your son to become involved as a contortionist?
I'm not sure to say for my son, but if I will have a daughter, so I wouldn't say no, because I'm a contortionist and I know it's worth it. I'm really happy like what I'm doing.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to see your performance piece in just a moment, but before we do, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience to look for, or what motivated you in putting this particular piece together?
Well, this piece, we talked about this piece, and originally we talked about we would like to create something that one person is doing contortion act and the other one is mirror. We are like looking at the mirror. That was the original idea of this act.
Wonderful. Okay, like looking in the mirror. Okay, well now let's watch the debut performance of the new contortion act featuring Mandkhai and Nomi. Wow, that was great. How did you get the idea for that performance?
We just talked about this contortion performance together before we actually do the act, so that's how we did it.
Interesting. And you've mentioned the importance of hard work before, and I know you talk about it in your book. Do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience about hard work and about your philosophy that you also share in your book?
Well, I just want to tell people that, like I think I mentioned before, when people see our performance, when they see us doing a contortionist, everybody thinks that, of course, it looks beautiful and you are talented. You are so lucky, and I don't consider myself lucky because I don't believe in luck, because everything what we have done is like hard work, and of course being talented is important, but for me I would say like 10% of talent and 90% was hard work and 0% luck, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, so lots of hard work, and obviously from watching your performance a lot of hard work goes into it. Thank you both so much for being on the show today. And thank you for watching at home. As Mandkhai just mentioned, success is not based on luck. In her experience, it's 90% of success comes from being willing to do the hard work necessary to achieve the success you want in life. So don't give up. Follow your dreams and keep working. One day you'll get your reward. Thank you for joining me and my guests on the show today, Contortion Seed. Remember to follow us on our Facebook channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Matt Milano, wishing you health and success. We'll see you next time, and remember, stay flexible.